Good evening to the humans of Earth. This is Sovereign Starseed. This is my spaceship. Feel free to make yourself at home because we're going to get into a little bit of some esoteric wisdom, esoteric knowledge. So these streams, they usually aren't meant for the masses. They're meant for the few. And that's all right because anybody that stays up to watch these types of things, it's great. Jim Thomas, welcome to the spaceship. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Super glad you're able to make it. So we're about to get into some esoteric wisdom. So just go ahead and kick yourself back. Make yourself comfortable. Do whatever you need to relax. Whatever you need to smoke on. Whatever you need to drink on. Whatever you need to meditate upon. Everything. It's going to be a great night. It's going to be a great show. Alright, so getting right into it here. We're going to go ahead and start off with that Pleiadian wisdom. Like what we have been bringing you for the past 2 study sessions. And this is just really good vibes, good knowledge. And I think that, it's good for people to continue to hear it. So we're going to go ahead and get right into chapter 3. Who your gods are. And let me go ahead and make sure that everything else is running smooth on the chat. Running smooth on the ship. Boom. Boom. Let's go ahead and get this chat going. Boom. Okay. Just rearranging the spaceship, You guys know, you guys got spaceships. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's just a spaceship thing. Okay, cool. So, we'll go ahead and get into it. Who your gods are. From Bringers of the Dawn, this is the Pleiadian teachings. Alright. And right here at the top of the hour. So, there are many misconceptions. Let me make sure. Yep, the timer is done. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to end up having to remove the timer since now we're in a new internet. Decentralized way of getting information in the information age. Cool. So, who your gods are. Y'all might see me retweeting or tweeting stuff out, things like that as this goes on, just because there's parts of this information that really speak to me. And then there's also parts of this information that also kind of get me sometimes a little emotional. You know what I mean? And that's alright too, because, yeah, we're all just learning. Got that up. Make sure I get this up. Cool. Okay. So there are many, who your gods are. There are many misconceptions about the idea of godhood. The universes are full of intelligent beings who have, over time, evolved and developed all sorts of capabilities and functions to serve their needs to express themselves creatively. The importance behind existence and consciousness is creativity. And creativity takes many forms. Aeons ago, Earth was but a thought in the minds of great beings who had set before themselves the task of creating new forms of existence. Many of these beings affected the creation of this universe, and you have termed them God. In actuality, they were extraterrestrial light-bearing energies far removed from Prime Creator. We rarely use the term God with a big G. If we were to use that term, we would be referring to the entity we know as Prime Creator. Prime Creator, in its own personal implosion through love, endowed all things with consciousness. All things are Prime Creator on Prime Creator's journey. We see ourselves as an extension of Prime Creator, always gathering information, going off on adventures, and doing whatever we need to do to make our lives more interesting and challenging so that we can feed Prime Creator. And as we feed Prime Creator through our schemes and our endeavors, we endow Prime Creator with greater energy to give to new creations. We have never gotten close to the entity Prime Creator, even those of us who are beings of the grandest light vibration do not have the capacity at this stage of our evolution to be in proximity of the Prime Creator, to Prime Creator. We are not prepared enough to handle the intensity of that emanation. It is our desire at some point in our evolution to get a glimpse of and perhaps merge with Prime Creator for a time. We know that this is possible, so it is something we strive for. The evolution of consciousness and the ability to house information is what allows one to come into the proximity of Prime Creator. Many people on Earth have felt that they have merged with God. They may have merged with a portion of Prime Creator that best suited their vibration at the time. The total vibration of Prime Creator would destroy the physical vehicle in an instant, because it cannot house that much information. Those that represent God to you are but a minute portion of Prime Creator. Even Prime Creator is but a portion of something larger. Prime Creator is always discovering that it is a child of another creation and that it is in a constant process of self-discovery and awareness. Remember, consciousness is within all things, and consciousness was never invented, it simply was. Consciousness is knowing, and your knowing is your closest place to Prime Creator. When you trust what you know, you are activating the God within you. At this time, there is a great awareness moving over the planet as to how big the world really is, and as to who's who in the world ball game. Not only who's who in the world ball game, but who's who in the cosmic ball game. Just as you have hierarchies upon Earth that you may or may not be aware of, there are hierarchies in the cosmos. You can live within a certain area and not be aware that any hierarchy exists. You can farm your land, pay your taxes, decide not to vote, and simply be oblivious to any bureaucratic political structure. In somewhat the same way, Earth is oblivious to the bureaucratic political structure that operates in the universe. It's the point of this channel, my friends. It is important for you to understand that bureaucracies and hierarchies exist, and that these organizations have different experiences of time than you do. Others do not live within the structure of time as you know it. What you call 1 year, perhaps to others, may be only one small portion of a day. If you can really begin to comprehend this, you can understand why this planet has seemingly been left to itself for the last few thousand years. Now, activity is beginning to bubble and boil again from the skies, and you'll be faced with inserting a vast amount of new knowledge into your paradigms and your belief systems. This planet is in for a culture shock, a big surprise. You have come here at this time for a certain purpose. Those creator gods who will rearrange the human species are returning. Some of them are already here. This planet has been visited over and over again, and many different forms of human being have been seeded here throughout a variety of experiments. There have been many influential factors that have created the course of history on Earth. There have been civilizations on this planet that have existed for millions of years and have come and gone and not left a trace. These civilizations, each and every one of them, were influenced by those of you who you may term God. Your history has been influenced by a number of light beings whom you have termed God. In the Bible, many of these beings have been combined to represent one being, when they were not one being at all, but a combination of very powerful extraterrestrial light being energies. They were indeed awesome energies from our perspective, and it is easy to understand why they were glorified and worshipped. There is no literature on earth that gives you a true picture of these beings. All of the gods came here to learn and to enhance their own development through working with creativity, consciousness, and energy. Some became very successful and mastered their own lesson, while some made quite devastating errors. Who were these gods from ancient times? They were beings who were able to move reality and command the spirits of nature to bend to their will. Humans have traditionally called beings God, who could do things that the human race could not do. These beings were passed down through the ancient cultures of many societies, portrayed as winged creatures and balls of light. The world is permeated with hints, clues, and artifacts of who your gods have been. However, those who wished to manipulate humans made up their own stories to create a paradigm that would control you. You were told that these beings were truly gods, and you were taught to worship, obey, and adore them. This paradigm is now on the verge of making a gigantic shift. The truth is going to come forward, a truth that will completely change the way you view the world. Woe be to those who are unwilling to look. The shock reverberations are going to move around the world. The creator gods who have been ruling this planet have the ability to become physical, though mostly they exist in other dimensions. They keep Earth in a certain vibrational frequency while they create emotional trauma to nourish themselves. There are some beings who honor life before everything else, and there are also beings who do not honor life and do not understand their connection to it. Consciousness feeds consciousness. It is hard for you to understand this concept because you feed yourself with food. The food for some beings is consciousness. All food contains consciousness at some point in its own development. Whether you fry it, boil it, or pick it from the garden, you ingest it to keep yourself nourished. Your emotions are food for others. When you are controlled to bring about havoc and frenzy, you are creating a vibrational frequency that supports the existence of these others because that is how they are nourished. There are those who live off the vibration of love, and that group would like to reestablish the food of love on this planet. They would like to turn this universe into the frequency of love so that it can have the opportunity to go out and seed other worlds. You represent the renegade group of light, and you have agreed to come back on this planet. You have agreed to come back on the planet. You are on assignment. You come into these physical bodies and take them over, and you intend, through the power of your spiritual identity, to change the physical body. You all selected with great care the genetic lines that would best give you head starts with all of this. Each of you chose a genetic history through which members of the family of light have threaded. When human beings existed in their rightful domain and could understand many realities, they had the ability to be multidimensional, to be one and equal with the gods. You are beginning to awaken this identity within yourself. The gods raided this reality, just like corporate raiders in your time come in and take over a business because perhaps the pension funds are in great abundance. So the funds upon this planet were in great abundance at the time these raider gods appeared. In order to have you believe they were gods with a big G, they rearranged you genetically. That is when the family of light was scattered from the planet, and the dark team, which operated out of ignorance, came in. Your bodies carry a fear and a memory of striving for the knowledge that those gods represented and took away from you. The gods who did this are magnificent space creatures. They can do many kinds of manipulation and work with realities in many different ways. Humans, in ignorance, began to call these space creatures God with a big G. God with a big G has never visited this planet as an entity. God with a big G is in all things. You have only dealt with gods with a little g who have wanted to be adored and to confuse you, and who have thought of earth as a principality, a place that they own out in the galactic fringes of this free will universe. Before the raid, you had tremendous abilities. The original biogenetic example of the human was given incredible information, was interdimensional, and could do many things. When those creator gods raided, they found that the local species knew too much. The local species had abilities that were too much like those who were passing themselves off as God. A biogenetic manipulation was done, and there was much destruction. There were experimental versions of the species brought onto the planet where the original database was scattered but not destroyed. At one time, your DNA was intact. It was a beautiful library where the information was all cataloged and referenced, and you could find anything you wanted to find instantly. When the biogenetic alteration occurred to unplug the data, it was as if someone hid the reference system and pulled all the books off the shelves and heaped them into a pile on the door so that there was no order to them. This is how your DNA was scattered and scrambled by the raiders a long time ago. Humans need to hear this. See how far these tweets go. We are telling you a story now. There is definitely a story to this. We speak not to your logical mind, but to your memory banks, so that you can begin to remember participating in this story. In this way, you will begin to understand what has happened and who you are within this process. All of the genetic information was scattered. It did not have an order, but it was left inside the cells. The only remaining information that remained for you to play with and to keep you functioning was the double helix. Many of the databases along the double helix were shut down, closed, so that you began to function with very little data. You were easy to manipulate and control by many aspects of consciousness passing themselves as passing themselves off as God with a big G. Certain entities took the existing species, which was indeed a glorious species, and retooled it for their own uses, their own needs. They disrupted the informational frequency inside human beings, changed the DNA, and gave you the double helix so that you could be kept in ignorance. Your frequency of accessibility was simply shut off so that you couldn't turn the dial of your own radio. These creator gods set out to alter the DNA inside the human body, which is the intelligence, the blueprint, the code. If a code does not have a place to operate within, it cannot fire itself into existence or express itself into existence. If you are locked up in a little tiny room and never given any place to grow, you can never express yourself. The last number of thousand years, your code has been forced to fit inside a very limited DNA. One of the most exciting aspects about being on Earth right now is that there is a reordering or a retooling taking place in your DNA. Cosmic rays are coming onto the planet so that a change is being broadcasted and a reordering is taking place inside the body. The scattered data that holds the history and awareness of the living library is now lining up. This is so much fun to broadcast. The DNA is evolving. New helixes or strands are being formed as the light encoded filaments are beginning to bundle themselves together. The scattered data is being pulled together in your body by electromagnetic energies from Prime Creator. We are here to watch this process in you, to assist you, and to evolve ourselves as well. Much love to anybody that is sending any love throughout the social media streams right now to Sovereign Starseed. Thank you so much. As this rebundling or reordering comes together, you will create a more evolved nervous system that will allow much more data to move itself into your consciousness. You will awaken many brain cells that have been lying dormant, and you will come into use of your full physical body rather than a small percentage that you have been functioning with. Every place on the planet is being affected by this change, this awareness. Those of you who are the guardians of light and who wish to completely change this present reality and bring different options in are anchoring the frequency. If it is not anchored and understood, it can create chaos. It will create chaos. This is why you must ground yourselves. Getting it out to the humans right now. Chaos brings about a state of reorganization when utilized properly. Time is collapsing, and the energy is becoming larger and larger. You have come here to use that energy first. You will make pathways of consciousness as you pull the energy into your body that will assist others so that they may not have to go through what you go through. Many people will suddenly begin to feel this energy without any preparation at all. You are all pulling light, which is data and information, onto the planet. And as you do this, you create new pathways for consciousness to explore without even saying a word. The new pathways of consciousness will create new realities, new options, and new ways of living and being. This is why the collapse of your society is inevitable. It does not hold light. It does not hold the multidimensional possibilities. It holds you in limitation, and you are tired of that. Here we go, humans. I think you need to hear this. Pop this one out. The creator gods are space beings who have their own home in space. They are also evolving. There are also those who would like to kick them out of the creator god club because they feel they do not value the life that they create. Before the takeover about 300,000 years ago, many of the original team worked here to bring information and create this vast information center that was to be used to connect many galactic systems. Then there was a great war among the creator gods and the space beings, whose stories are in the ancient manuscripts of this planet, won the fight. They came here because they wanted this place for many of their own reasons. In Prime Creator's universe here, all things are allowed. Because all things are allowed, many lessons are learned. Some of these creator gods married and merged their lines, just as on the European continent, different monarchs and royal families have married and merged their kingdoms. The creator gods would mix one kind with another to see what they could create. Remember, they understood genetics, and all things were created by manifesting and using the life force and understanding how the life force works. It is beyond your comprehension at this time how vast this project has been. That's why we study alchemy as well, and spirituality. Who are these beings who came in and rent asunder the original plans for Earth? Who are these space beings we sometimes refer to as the dark t-shirts? Be kind when you speak of the forces of darkness. Do not speak as if they are bad. Simply understand that they are uninformed, and they create systems that are uninformed because that is how they believe they must operate. Oh boy, do the humans need to hear that. They fought at one time and separated themselves from knowledge. So now they desperately hold on to their existing knowledge and on to life as they have evolved it into being. It is life based on fear, life that does not honor other life, life that uses other life. Who are they, these beings? They are the reptiles. These space beings are part human and part reptilian. We call them the Lizzies because we like to make things a little less emotional and a little humorous so that you don't take them so seriously and get so upset. We are not here to frighten you. We are here to inform you. You know all of this inside of you. And as you begin to open the history of who you are, some of you will begin to access reptilian memories. You are under a delusion if you believe that you always incarnate as human beings. You incarnate to experience creation, to gather information about creation, and to comprehend it collectively. You certainly don't go into just one experience. It would be like eating dinner at the same restaurant your whole life and then saying, I know all about food. It's foolishness. Begin to expand your boundaries and realize that you have to experience many things. There is brilliance within all life. Checking chat. Just checking. Jim Thomas, Cameron M., thank you guys so much for joining. So, creator gods take many forms, and they are not all Lizzies. There are creator gods who are insect-like. We Pleiadians are associated with the creator gods that are bird-like and reptilian. There were those who came from space and worked with the energy of the birds in many different cultures. If you look at the drawings of ancient cultures in Egypt, South America, and North America, you will see signs of the birds and reptiles. At one time, the birds and the reptiles worked together, and at other times, they fought. As you comprehend more, the story will get larger. You will begin to remember your history. The creator gods are very connected to you. When you decide to become a parent, you agree to learn from your children, to be responsible for their welfare, and to teach them to become responsible for themselves. It is the same with creator gods. Through watching you grow, they are learning about life. They are learning about what they create. They are learning how to be good parents, so to speak. Some creator gods created life just to have it take care of them or meet their needs. They have fed off your emotions. One of the big secrets that has been kept from you as a species is the richness and wealth that accompanies emotion. So, let's let humans hear that one. You have been steered away from exploring emotion because through emotion you can figure things out. Your emotions connect you with the spiritual body. The spiritual body, of course, is non-physical, existing on the multidimensional sphere. The range of frequency modulation has now been shifted, and energies from the outside are working to alter the planet. These energies need you. They cannot alter the planet from the outside. The planet must be altered from the inside. The energies simply bring in creative cosmic rays that penetrate your body and create the evolutionary leap inside your body. Once you understand the proper use of emotion and begin to get control over your own frequency, you will be able to broadcast these rays. Then, you will not feed the frequency of fear to this plane of existence. As the frequency of fear begins to diminish upon this planet, many activities will be promulgated to bring about an increase in fear, because those who live off of the fearful frequency will be losing their nourishment, their food. They will make an attempt to reinstate that frequency before they change their nourishment to the new frequency of love. The Lizzies have set Earth up with devices that can broadcast and magnify the emotional turmoil on this planet. That turmoil is sent to them and it sustains them in some way. In order to come to a planet, you must have a portal or a way to get into it. You could fly into space, say to Jupiter, but if you never find the portal that allows you to enter the planet's time frame of existence, you could land on a place that looks desolate and without life. Portals allow you to enter the dimension of the planet where life exists. Portals open onto the corridors of time and serve as zones of multidimensional experience. There have been different portals on Earth that have allowed different species, creator gods from space, to insert themselves. One of the huge portals that presently is being fought over is the portal of the Middle East. One of the huge portals that... if you think back over the history of Earth, you will recognize how many dramas of religion and civilization have been introduced in that portal. It's a huge portal with a radius of 1,000 miles or so. This is why there is so much activity in the Middle East. This is the portal that the Lizzies use. To some extent, the Lizzies have controlled this portal. They have used this area to create their underground bases and caverns from which they operate. This ancient civilization of Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers, the Euphrates, was a space colony where a certain civilization was introduced. Kuwait sits at the mouth of this territory. This is a portal that involves manipulation of the human population to serve the needs of others. Within the Lizzie population, there are those who are benevolent and those who are malevolent. Why are we telling you all this? Why do you need to know it? You need to know it because the Lizzie reality is re-entering and merging with your dimension. Part of your evolutionary leap in consciousness is not simply to go into love and light and eat ice cream sundaes every day. You must comprehend how complex reality is, how many different forms of reality there are, and how they are all you. You must make peace with them and merge with them to create an implosion of the collection of your soul. In this way, you can come back to Prime Creator. You are going to be faced with many opportunities to judge many things and label them as bad. But when you judge and label, you will not experience and feel the new realities. Always remember that this is a free will zone and that there is a divine plan, which is going to be the last plan, the last card to be played. You all must remember that this last card is going to be an ace. The nature of the drama on this planet is quite interesting. Whenever there is a frequency modulation of an existing system, there is a certain magnetism that moves out from that system. This magnetism draws every energy that was ever involved with that system back to the system so that it can be part of the evolution or process. You are magnetizing everything to yourself that you have ever experienced so that you can feel everything you need to feel about it. Johnny B's good. What's up? This is a book called Bringers of the Dawn, and these are the esoteric study sessions. So, my friend, you stumbled onto something, maybe by chance, but probably not. So just sit back and listen, because this may be something that you might want to hear. Maybe something that you need to hear. Who knows? Or leave. It's okay. Um, so yeah, it just says here, the creative gods of ancient times are being drawn back here at this time because of the divine plan. They must participate in it and understand that their frequencies are going to be changed. They are resisting this, just like many humans are resisting, yet they create their own realities. These creator gods of the last 300,000 years have forgotten who created them. They have forgotten their gods. As members of the family of light, you have not forgotten. Your task is comprehension. You see, you guys, we don't talk about understanding here because understanding is still standing under. We talk about comprehension. So that way you are now on the level of the knowledge that you are comprehending. And also make sure that we also remember that we don't try to overstand things as well. And we speak in the words of overstanding because that's arrogant as well. And there's so much knowledge that changes our comprehension. Isn't everything predetermined? The thought of free will is an illusion. Very good. Yeah, the thought of free will versus determinism is an age-old debate. So I love that. I love that. Johnny be good. I love that, bro. That's a great, great question right there. Let's see what else has been happening here within chat, if anything else. Danny. Oh, that's Danny. Kev's joined. What's up, Kev? Appreciate you for joining in. Okay, so it says your task is comprehension. To pull comprehension and understanding onto this planet, which will stabilize the energy and generate power to create. Light is determined on this planet, and these creator guides underestimate you. Even in their own brilliance, they have blind spots. They are so enamored of power that they fight amongst themselves. Let's motivate right now. I'm also tweeting everything that I can from this. The creator gods gave up a portion of themselves and became ensconced, enamored, and with their own project. You are linked to these beings because you are extensions of operable forces of them. You are here to affect reality not simply from the outside, but from the inside. It is this that you are intending to remember. The creator gods are coming back to raid you again because they don't want to starve. They understand that there is a systems busting going on through you, so they are here to create greater havoc and fear, to fight once again for this territory. Their food source is important to them. They are losing control of the planet, so they are going back to their prime portal in the Middle East, where their nest is located underneath the ground, to create fear and chaos. The original planners wished to bring freedom of choice with respect to frequency back to this planet. The gods who have been in charge here for this last period of evolution use frequency modulation and do not allow freedom of choice. They rob your psychic energy by giving you a false picture of reality in every way that you could possibly imagine. We are not saying these gods are bad. We are simply informing you of events that take place and of how innocently you become involved in these events. You do not realize that these situations are set up to get you to think or feel a certain way and to vibrate with a certain consciousness. We play the same game. If you look back to see what we have done, have we not purposely set up a plan of frequency modulation for you? Have we not entrapped you, enticed you, convinced you of your free will so that you could choose to vibrate at a certain frequency? We have done the same thing the builders have done. You had best, all of you, give up your old definitions of Santa Claus. In the same way that you discovered the truth about the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, you're going to discover that there is a cover-up, a story, an idealized version around many of these energies that you have worshipped as gods. The predominant energy on this planet siphons your belief systems according to its own will. It directs incredible flows of energy outward, and this energy is alive. You have been told that all of your thoughts make a world. They are real. They go someplace. There are 5.5 billion people thinking right now. This was written in 92. There are 5.5 billion people right now. That much energy is alive on Earth. What is the predominant feeling within that energy, and what can this energy be convinced or coerced to exhibit? We are not here to say who is right and who is wrong and who is who within the hierarchy. We simply want to bust your illusions, to pop your balloons about what you have been led to believe. We do not want to say that it is wrong. We simply want to suggest to you that you think bigger. Feel the noticeable loss that is going to occur within this predominant energy when more and more of you don't vibrate according to its plan. Think of what you can do when you overcome the frequency modulation or the insistence of your logical mind, and when, with impeccability, you stand as a keeper of frequency. Remember that identity as a frequency is the sum total of your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies broadcast as electromagnetic pulsations. Each time you begin to own what someone has been siphoning off and to cultivate it according to your own will, you change the vibration of the planet. As systems busters, this is one of the things you are profoundly proficient in. We do not want to discredit or discount what you have used up until now as tools. We simply want you to outgrow your old tools. Some of your reverence and loyalty has been to belief systems that will no longer serve you, just as there will come a time when each of you will move beyond the steps that we are leading you through at this time. Another energy will be able to say, well, when the Pleiadians were showing you this, it was very good. They led you here and there. Let us take you further. And that's exactly what's happening with this channel here, is let us just go ahead and show you in the Bringers of the Dawn what the Pleiadians have said, but then we're going to go so much further, my friends. So I'm grateful that they already wrote this in 1992. So there is no stopping the evolution, for there is nothing that has been given to the planet that represents the ultimate in truth. As you summon the story of your reptilian past, you will find that many of the influential characters in the patriarchal system of history have indeed been part of the reptile family. Just as all humans are not bad, it is the same with the reptilians. They are no less a part of Prime Creator than you are, and their visage and physiology is not one of lesser means. Master geneticists are capable of occupying many different forms. It is quite understood that part of the difficulty of working in an isolated species is the shock that can occur with the complete revelation of truth. There have been many other creator gods. One second. Let me get this one thing going. Let's see. Johnny B. Good says, what if we are godlike, all coming from the higher source, creating life through generation and so on? Absolutely. You're right on board, bro. That's exactly what I'm saying too. What if we are all just godlike, expressing different versions, of the same prime creator? Which is why this is so important. So, Yes, you know, it's saying here, um, there have been many other creator gods, only some of which have had human form. Presently, this is a long chapter, yo. Presently, your greatest state of unrest or discomfort comes from beings of a reptilian type of existence because they seem the most foreign to you. It has been our intention to expand your ideas of who your gods are because those gods will be returning to Earth. That is why the planet is going through such great turmoil. As you learn to hold the frequencies coming from the creative cosmic rays, you will be prepared to meet these gods. As we have said, some of them are already here. They walk in your streets and participate in your academies, your government, and your workplaces. They are here to observe and they are here to direct energies. Some come for great assistance, and some are here to learn and evolve. Some do not have the highest of intentions. You must understand how to discern the extraterrestrial energies. This is a free will universe, so all forms of life are allowed here. If an energy attempts to frighten you, manipulate you, or control you, it is not an energy that would be in your highest interest to work with. You have a choice of who you work with. Just because someone has evolved many fantastic and seemingly magic abilities does not necessarily mean that entity has evolved spiritually. Learn to discern. See if we can get that one out. Ooh. You are living in a most important time when energy is coming alive. All you are feeling is the result of you coming alive and awakening to your hidden potentials. The wind is whipping around, showing you that there are great stirrings in the air. The gods are here. You are these gods. As you awaken to your history, you will begin to open your ancient eyes. These are the eyes of Horus, which see not through the eyes of a human being, but from the point of view of a god. And they see the connectedness and purpose of all things. For the ancient eyes are able to see into many realities and to connect the whole picture, the whole history. When you open the ancient eyes within yourselves, you will not only be able to connect within your own whole personal history, you will be able to connect with the planetary history, the galactic history, and the universal history. Then, and indeed, you will find out who your gods are. Boom. And that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining in for our esoteric study sessions. What do you guys think about that? If you want to post anything up, let me know. Boom. Johnny Be Good right here. Opening up. Third eye right open. Wide open, my friend. Yes. 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 If any of you guys found any value in any of this, first of all, thank you so much to anybody that decided to tune in to an esoteric study session. The very definition of esoteric means that it's not meant for the masses. It's meant for the few. So if you have a brother or a sister of the human race that you feel would benefit from some of the things spoken about here, or it would even start up a good conversation for you, make sure that you share this broadcast with them. Also make sure that you follow Sovereign Starseed, because every night at 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 5 o'clock Universal Time, we're streaming cryptocurrency news from a sovereign perspective. And then we also go into teachings like this as well. And then also we're going to start getting into some investing so that way you guys can see how you can free yourselves with your funds. So again, everybody that beamed up for this very, very interesting broadcast, thank you so much for watching this. You are what fuels the ship. This is Sovereign Starseed signing off, saying good night to the humans of Earth, and I'll see you tomorrow night for another broadcast.